They thought I didn't know, that I'd just keep smiling, keep swallowing every lie she fed me. But that night, surrounded by fake friends and cheap wine, I saw her for who she really was. She bragged about cheating like it was a joke. So I gave them one better, a toast to my freedom, and a door closing behind me. There's a moment when a man knows he's done, not angry, not even heartbroken anymore, just done. And that moment, for me, came on a warm Saturday night, in a room full of fake laughter and cheaper wine than they pretended to like. She was sitting on the edge of the sectional, red dress hugging curves I hadn't been allowed to touch in over a year, and she had a glass of rose in her hand like she was holding court. She leaned in toward her friend Brooke, laughed that exaggerated kind of laugh she used when she was trying too hard to be someone else, and said it, just loud enough for everyone to hear. He's never gonna leave, though. He's like a lost puppy, loyal, clueless, and always waiting at the door. The room burst into laughter. Hers was the loudest. And me? I was standing 10 feet away, in the kitchen archway, holding a drink I didn't even want. I didn't flinch. I didn't storm out. I just raised my glass, eyes locked on hers, and said, "To freedom." Then I walked out. But let me take you back, because that moment didn't come out of nowhere. It was a slow unraveling, the kind that starts with small tears you ignore until the whole damn thing comes apart in your hands. Her name's Melissa. We met back in 2014 at a mutual friend's birthday party. She was sharp, too sharp, maybe, had a confidence that bordered on arrogance, but it looked good on her then. She worked in public relations, always had a way with words, especially when it came to making herself look good. We dated for a year and a half before getting married. At first, it was exciting. Fast weekends away, wine tastings, long nights talking about nothing. I thought she saw something in me, stability, maybe, loyalty. What I didn't realize then was that she wasn't looking for a partner. She was looking for an audience. Things changed after the wedding, but not in the ways people warn you about. It wasn't the mundane routines or the financial stress. It was the way she started treating me like I was something she could control instead of someone she chose. Everything had to be about her, her career, her schedule, her image. And I supported it all, cheered her on, cooked dinners when she had late meetings, went to networking events with people who called themselves branding experts, but couldn't tell you the name of the waiter serving their overpriced cocktails. And in return, she began to retreat. Emotionally, physically, in every way. Intimacy dried up like a desert overnight. No more spontaneous touches, no more eye contact during meals, no more laughter that wasn't aimed at me. I tried. God knows I tried. Planned weekend getaways, brought her flowers for no reason, learned to make her favorite meals. She'd smile, barely. Say thanks, barely. Then go back to texting her coworkers or watching those reality shows where people pretended to be in love for prize money. I should have known something was wrong when I found the password to her phone had changed. She said it was because of a security breach at work. I believed her. Then there were the late nights, the sudden work trips, the giggles at texts she wouldn't let me see. One night, I got home early. Her phone was face down on the kitchen counter, buzzing like it was trying to get my attention. I didn't touch it. Didn't need to. She walked in 5 minutes later, saw me looking at it, and her whole body tensed. "You don't trust me?" she snapped. "No," I said. "I just don't recognize you anymore." She rolled her eyes, called me dramatic, and went upstairs. That was the night I slept on the couch for the first time. Not because she asked me to, because I couldn't stand the coldness of the bed we used to share. The next few weeks were a blur of half-hearted apologies and awkward silences. And then came the party. Our friend Derek had just bought a new condo. Fancy place, downtown view, one of those rooftop patios that makes you feel richer than you are. Melissa was glowing that night. Hair done, nails perfect. That red dress I mentioned earlier, the one she used to wear for me, back when she wanted to. She held court like a queen among her circle. People always gravitated toward her. She knew how to spin stories, make people laugh, drop just enough sarcasm to seem edgy without crossing the line. But that night, she crossed it. They were talking about relationships, breakups, dating horror stories. Then someone joked about how women can get away with anything because men are too scared to leave. Melissa laughed and said, "Yeah, tell me about it. I cheated once, and he still stayed. Didn't even raise his voice. Just acted like a sad little puppy." Everyone laughed. Everyone but me. Because I wasn't surprised. I'd known, deep down, for a long time. There was a guy named Colin from her office. She used to bring him up in conversations more than once. Used to say he was just a friend. But I saw the way she talked about him. The sparkle. The energy. The same way she used to talk about me. I never had proof, but I didn't need it. That night, I got confirmation. And instead of lashing out or making a scene, I did the only thing I hadn't done yet. I left. I raised my glass, looked her dead in the eye, and said, "To freedom." Then I turned and walked out of that condo, down the elevator, and into the street where the night air felt like breathing for the first time in years. She didn't follow me. Not then. But trust me, she would. I didn't go home that night. I drove around aimlessly, no destination, just the sound of tires humming on asphalt and the taste of her betrayal still sour in my mouth. I pulled into a motel off the highway, $68 a night, smelled like bleach and broken dreams. But the bed was clean, and more importantly, it was mine. No cold shoulder. No judgment. Just silence. And for the first time in a long time, silence didn't feel like punishment. She didn't call that night. She didn't text. But I knew she would. Melissa was many things, but she wasn't used to consequences. She was used to me folding, quietly, passively, loyally. But that version of me, he died on that rooftop. The first message came at 10:14 the next morning. "Where are you? Can we talk?" Then another. "I didn't mean it like that. You're blowing this out of proportion." That one almost made me laugh. Out of proportion. Like casually admitting infidelity in front of your friends was the same as burning dinner or forgetting to take the trash out. I didn't reply. I let her sit in it. In the echo of an empty house. In the silence where my footsteps used to be. Because that's what people like her fear most. Being left with nothing but their own reflection. I spent the next few days doing things I hadn't done in years. I went to the old bookstore downtown and spent 2 hours flipping through paperbacks. I found a bench at Centennial Park and just sat. Watched people walk their dogs, joggers with earbuds, couples holding hands. I didn't envy them. I just observed. Like I was waking up after a long coma. Melissa, meanwhile, turned up the volume. By Thursday, she was calling twice a day. Then came the email. A long, winding thing full of excuses, half apologies, and one particular sentence that stuck with me. "You know, I only said that to make them laugh. I didn't think you'd take it seriously." That was it. That was the moment I knew we were done. Because she still didn't get it. It wasn't just the cheating. It wasn't just the disrespect. It was the way she didn't see me. Not really. I was a prop in her life. Something dependable. Predictable. Replaceable. 2 weeks passed. I moved into a rental on the edge of town. Small place, 1 bedroom, no central air. But it had big windows, and when the breeze came through, it felt like possibility. I bought a new coffee maker. A cheap couch. Started over with a toothbrush and a suitcase. And I started healing. Not dramatically. Not all at once. But slowly, like a man learning to walk again after a long fall. Then, out of nowhere, she showed up. It was a Sunday afternoon. I was washing my truck in the driveway, the sun baking the pavement, music low on the radio. She pulled up in her Audi, stepped out wearing a black dress and sunglasses too big for her face. I didn't stop what I was doing. She stood there for a second, arms crossed, watching me rinse off the hood. "I didn't think you'd actually leave," she said, like it was some confession. I turned down the music. "You bragged about cheating on me, Mel. In front of your friends." She looked down, then back up. "I didn't mean to hurt you." I nodded slowly. "But you did. And you laugh while doing it." She stepped closer. I was angry. I felt like you weren't paying attention to me. Like you didn't care. That line, that one made my chest tighten, not with sadness, but disbelief. "I didn't care?" I asked. "You mean the dinners I made? The dates I planned you always canceled? The nights I sat on the couch waiting for you to look up from your phone? That was me not caring?" She didn't answer. "You wanted attention, Mel? You had all of mine. Every single day. But it wasn't enough, because it wasn't from the right person, was it?" She winced. That hit home. "You said I'd never leave," I continued. "You said I was a loyal puppy. Well, guess what? Even dogs know when they're being kicked." Silence. Then she said it. "I made a mistake. I miss you." I wiped my hands on a towel. "You miss control." She reached out, maybe to touch my arm, maybe to close the gap that had grown between us. But I stepped back. "You don't love me, Melissa," I said. "You loved having me." Her eyes filled. "So that's it?" "No," I said softly. "That's freedom." I watched her drive away. No yelling. No slamming doors. Just the quiet truth ringing louder than anything either of us had said during those last hollow months together. It's been a year since then. She tried a few more times. Emails, calls from blocked numbers, mutual friends carrying messages I didn't ask for. But I never went back. And here's the thing no one tells you. Peace is addictive. Once you feel it, once you taste life without tension, without manipulation, without begging to be seen, you never want to go back to the noise. I wake up early now, make coffee, read, sometimes run if the weather's nice. I rebuilt myself one habit at a time. And sometimes, when I'm out with friends or sitting alone with a beer and the sun setting over the hills, I think about that night. Her voice, her laugh, that awful sentence. He's never gonna leave. She was wrong. I did. And I never looked back.